The answer is yes, and there are various factors to that. I don't know where to begin, but one, of course, is the generation that we are from. We're teachers. We look at most teachers being from.
So what has happened is the noble profession is now become more transactional. Transaction is a word that we use in the banking sector.
Teaching has always been considered one of the most noble and meaningful professions. But today, educators are navigating growing workloads, emotional fatigue, constant expectations, and the pressure to do more with less. As schools focus on student success, an important question arises. Are we doing enough to sustain the well-being of our teachers? Good afternoon and a warm welcome. You're watching Education News Network. I'm your host Nitya Krishnamurthy, and today we're discussing, can schools sustain their educators amid teacher burnout? To explore this important topic, we have two esteemed school leaders with us today. So let's welcome our first panelist. We have Mr. Kim Noble, Principal of Tunbridge High School, Bangalore. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Nitya.
We also have Dr. Jeelu Varghese, Principal of Asia Pacific World School, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have both of you join us today.
Our pleasure.
To begin with our discussion, I'd first like to ask Mr. Kim Noble. So, what are the earliest signs of teacher burnout that school leaders often overlook?
First of all, before I even get to the answer to that question, I'd say it's very commendable that Education News Network is actually having this particular topic for discussion. So often, over the last few years, few decades, we've talked about student well-being and what teachers need to do and managements need to do for the successful running of a school, especially with the students. But very little bit has been spoken about teachers and how do teachers handle the pressure, what happens when there's teacher burnout. So there are many flags, amber flags and red flags. And with experience, one can identify those at an earlier stage. There are those that are very visible. They can see them over the surface, the proverbial iceberg, where what's above the surface can be easily seen. A teacher having a meltdown or, losing a temper. These are very visible signs. But the ones that are often overlooked, and they can be overlooked for two reasons. One is that either the head of the school leader doesn't have the capability or the experience to identify these subtle nuances, these subtle red flags, which may trigger teacher burnout. Or the other reason is that sometimes school leaders prefer to look the other way and say everything is fine, it's all tickety-boo and carry on. So there are many of these flags. I think the most obvious ones, like I mentioned over there, was a meltdown. But when you have absenteeism or teachers not turning up on a Monday or making a few excuses for being unwell, not turning up, the engagement with the students, when that reduces, the engagement with the peers, when that reduces, then it's a bit of an amber flag, red flag over there. But I say the most subtle and often overlooked and unseen flag is when teachers stop asking, right? And I say this because we always expect our teachers to tell and to do. So tell the students what to do and they themselves also do. So when a teacher goes to a mode, okay, sir, you tell me what to do, tell me what I must do and I'll do it. When they shifted to that mode from the previous mode, of asking, right? Can we do this? What should we do over here? Especially a teacher who's come in at an early stage, a new hire who's brimming with ideas, brimming with enthusiasm. Is that sustained over the course of months or years? And if you see that waning, where they've stopped asking questions and get into a more robotic mode of just complying and going through the daily routines, then that is a sense, that's an amber flag of burnout.
So that's a major sign.
It's a major sign.
All right. Dr. Jeelu Varghese, coming to you. How can schools balance high academic expectations with teacher well-being?
Yeah, a very good question. And before that, once again, thank you for having us over, both of us, and trying to share our views with you. There's no one answer to this. When you look at expectations start right from our home and then they carry it and come to the school. So what has happened now is there is a paradigm shift in the very word called expectations. that very, I think the meaning itself is dynamically changing. It's in a very kinetic state,
Yes,
if you
right.
look at it, So what has happened is the noble profession is now become more transactional. Transaction is a word that we use in the banking sector, but today it is transactional in the educational sector. And when you look at expectations, it is good to have expectations. When I walk into the classrooms, I have expectations. When I take over a school, I have an expectation. It's nice, but the problem is, are we balancing it out? And that's exactly where the problem is, because managements have to step in. You have to have your decorum in place. What are the elements that we would want to execute to ensure that expectations are met, yet my teachers are, safe and sound? And when the expectations are not met, what is the strategy that you have? How are you going to address it? All these things play a big and a vital role. So even the parent expectation levels, I think schools need to put across. For example, teachers should be available 24 hours. When I call, you must answer. I think that expectation is very wrong, and the schools must step in to tell them that my team has a personal life. So some of these things which can be set right should not be overlooked.
And do you think we've unintentionally normalized teacher stress as part of the job?
Yes, because like I said, it's become transactional. It's become business module. It's become a corporate module. And, I think if I say when I studied in one of the KVs, and I'm very proud of where I studied, because if I'm seated here today, it's because of what my teachers have done. So what has happened is, along the way, the thought line has shifted. You are trying to make hay when the sun shines. Maybe it's that you want to gather it all, have it all. That makes it difficult.
Right. So, Mr. Kim Noble, coming back to you, do you think teachers today are facing more emotional pressure than ever before?
Good question, and unfortunately, the answer is yes. And there are various factors to that. I don't know where to begin, but one, of course, is the generation that we are from. We're teachers. If you look at most teachers being from, almost school leaders being from Gen X, the baby boomers, Gen X, and most teachers being millennials. And now with the students being Gen Z and Gen Alpha, okay, the expectations of this generation gap, okay, it's sometimes it's a conflict over there. So, for example, we grew up with certain survival tactics, right? So we grew up in almost something we had to navigate our way through life and figure out things when we didn't have the answers. Now the expectation is that students have all the answers, and the teachers have to, facilitate that over there. Also, the students themselves are more socially aware and more emotionally aware of themselves, and which is a good thing, because they are more aware of mental health issues, but they're also able to identify it. Sometimes they're able to identify it correctly, and sometimes they misdiagnose it themselves. But then that's where the teacher needs to step in and identify, whether a student is going through something. So a teacher now is not just a facilitator in the classroom, not just a teacher, but you're a counselor, you're an event manager, you're the parent, you're a nurse, all that, keeping in mind that you also have to have a job and keep. The other sector where pressure comes from, for emotional pressure comes for a teacher, is that parents themselves, okay, and I know there are many parents listening to this, and I would like you to hear this as well, is that parents today are more process-minded, and that's again a good thing, because of the kind of world we work in right now, the digital world, and parents who have had a corporate life experience. They come with certain expectations on certain competencies and certain evaluation parameters which they would like to apply to a teacher's job over there. And this is where the feedback comes into teachers, when parents say, this teacher is good because of this, but this one is not because of that, by these parameters. And ask these parents, okay, fine, great, bring this in, but spend one day in the classroom as a teacher first to understand that emotional pressure that teachers feel. Personally, as a school leader, I also find that leaders bring in a lot of ideas, a lot of theoretic ideas into the profession, and then put that pressure on the teachers. I'll give my personal example. I was a teacher first, then moved into college lecturing, then joined the corporate sector where I learned all the processes, and I was head of L&D at KPMG. And I came back full circle as the principal of Tunbridge High School. And I came back brimming with ideas. Okay, I've got all these processes in mind, all these certain competencies and compliances over there. Let me bring this in over here. And I found 99% of those had to be thrown out of the window because they do not work in a school environment. Teaching is essentially such a matter of the heart and an unquantifiable parameter. But you really can't quantize or quantify every element of teaching. How do you evaluate subjective things when a teacher speaks to a student or understands what a child is going through? So yes, a teacher has to understand all that and face the pressures of the world today emotionally.
Right. So since you spoke about the multiple roles that teachers need to carry out, what according to you is exhausting teachers the most these days? Is it the administrative demands, parental expectations, or emotional labor? What is it?
And I will come down to just 4 words. 4 words the way it used to be and the way it should be. And we're forgetting these 4 words. Let your teachers teach.
Yeah.
Okay. Teachers are getting so bogged down, and you hit the nail on the head, Nitya. They're getting so bogged down with all the back-end administrative work, the reports, the compliances to fill out, multiple training hours to complete in a year, the LMS, and so all the runarounds is every hour a teacher spends in these administrative works takes away an hour of lesson planning, of thinking, of interacting with students over there, which is really the core of a teacher's job. So if you want to have all these other administrative tasks in place, fine, get people involved, have someone to assist the teacher with all this, but let your teachers teach.
Absolutely, I agree with that. So Dr. Jeelu, what role does school culture play in preventing burnout and retaining educators?
It does play the major role, because when a school hires an individual, man or woman, they come with their baggages from their homes, and they're not just your teacher. You know, that person is a father, a wife, they play multiple roles. So when you talk about a culture, and I am not much in favor of this term where many schools say we are a family. We are not. It's a workplace. It's totally a workplace. I think it's just playing on the sly that, you know, you're given more work hours and you imagine it to be your family, which is actually a bubble. It's not true. So the true happiness is loving your, like Sir mentioned, the 4 words. I think it's the 4 golden words. Allow your teachers to teach and then give the extra support. There are many schools that do not give even for the foundational level, or the assistant teacher is not given. So you're adding to the pressure. You want your numbers in place. You want 35, 40 children in a class and a single teacher handling age group between 3 years to 6 years is not a fair thing. Then when you look at culture, what is your reporting system? How do you address conflicts? How do you address troubleshoot that happens? So all these things play a role. And then the most important thing is, what is your hierarchy and the appreciation that comes? I think as human beings, we all want to be appreciated. And a culture that talks of only work, just do your work and go, no one's there to stand by and have your hand on the shoulder is not very nice. You have to introspect. You have to stand and kind of check on these things.
And is teacher well-being discussed enough in boardrooms and policy conversations?
No, I don't think so. That's the
I think it's something
priority.
that probably comes up only after
Yeah.
resignations
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
An exit interview, yes.
No, resignations also, it is a convenience, who you want to keep and who you want to send out. So all these things, it needs to be looked at from an objective perspective. Many times it's very subjective. Emotions are involved. Somebody who can influence a decision is involved.
Yes.
All these things kind of, collapse the whole mental well-being, because everybody else is also watching, So, yeah.
Right. So, Mr. Kim, based on your experience as a school leader, what truly makes teachers feel valued and supported?
All right, so PA system, right? You remember what it is. People think it is a public address system. But for me, it's there are two PA systems it takes. One is your personal awareness, where you are aware of what a teacher is going through, the cost of life, the difficulties, the challenges. And are you that empathetic, cognizant enough to walk up to a teacher and say, how's your day going? How's your husband doing? Has he bought about admission in college for the day? So that personal awareness, these one-on-ones with teachers, is that's one part of the culture that's very important for school leaders to follow through. The other PA system is the public announcement. Something small that the teacher does needs to be publicly announced to acknowledge, appreciate, and appreciation. Thank you for that. Right, so these two PA systems, your personal awareness and the public announcements, it does more than a fancy increment of the salary can do. Money is important. You have to look after your teachers. You have to make sure that they are looked after financially. And after that, you can address all these other issues. And we talk so much about Bloom's taxonomy in the classroom, but I always say put Maslow before Bloom's, right? Have the basic leads, essential leads in place first for your students and for your teachers, then go to the higher categories there. That's what I feel. It's your personal interaction. At the end of the year, I run this questionnaire for my teachers, and I always ask them 4 questions. The first one is, what mistake have you made this? And I would like my teachers to come out with as many mistakes as they make, or identify one. But every teacher must identify one mistake. Because if you have not made a mistake, right, you haven't been learning, you haven't been experimenting, you haven't tried. And too often, school leaders are so hell-bent on having teachers fill in the boxes, work within simple parameters, that they're not allowed to make mistakes. At Tunbridge, we say, make mistakes, make new mistakes, make a new mistake every day. So teachers share the mistakes they make, because they've been known that they've been learning. The other one, as we said, appreciate, acknowledge, appreciate. Point to someone in the room who has done something extra, who has not been acknowledged enough, and you notice someone doing it, one of your peers with it. Make that person, make somebody's with it. Then another question is, what was the single most happiest moments in this past academic year? The happiest day, your happiest day coming to school here. What was that? What brought you here? And teachers who have a high attendance record, you can ask them, what motivates, what ways you to just work on that, right? Do more of that. Somebody's not turning up, find out what it is. And the last question, which I find very, very important, is every teacher must finish this one sentence. Sir, what can we do? Or rather, let me rephrase it. Oh, sir, why don't we? ... Right? So that is what teachers. I ask teachers, I say, my office is an open door policy. Come in not to tell me about, this problem, that problem, this happens. So ask me this question, sir, why aren't we doing this? Here's an idea. I like to bring it forth. Can we put it? And I say that's the culture every school management should have. And very often school leaders themselves are bound by certain compliances of board of governors. Do you have a very hierarchy board of governors to say, go ahead and do that? Permit your teachers to work in a creative place where they can make mistakes and learn for them and be the safety net behind. And that's culture.
And you said that you asked them to talk about their mistakes. So you're allowing for introspection there, which is so important.
Introspection and not be ashamed or afraid of making mistakes. Boast about your mistakes. Right? I made this stupid mistake. I had this foolish mistake of doing this. Have a laugh. It dissipates so much of the insecurity the teacher have. And keep it's sharing openly where they have at each mistake has been an opportunity for learn for themselves and for their peers as well.
Right. And so, talking about burnout, I'm just curious to know, are younger teachers experiencing burnout differently from senior educators these days?
Mostly yes. Expectations are different, and I'm going back to the generation where we waited. Our generation wanted a new set of clothes. You had to wait for Christmas or for Eid or for Diwali. Now it's on Swiggy, it's on Amazon, you get it immediately. So expectations also is I want something, I need it now. And if I don't get it, then frustration and depression sets in. And it's not their fault. We've been wired this way now, right? Now it's the gap comes in when all the teachers have not understood that if the expectation we try to impose, right? And even the management tries to impose on the teachers, get there to do this. So for younger teachers, having understood what are their expectations, have we had a conversation at the married table, sir? And to come to your question, when I look at a resume when I hire teachers, okay, I always flip it upside down. I always like to go to the last page. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What did you do when you were a student in school? What did you do in college? Okay, did you take part in these co-curricular activities? Did you take part in sports and like? Once I like that, it's okay. There's so much more you can do. You can bring it to the school, your culture, you bring your personality to the school. Okay. Then I flip to the front page. Okay, you have the qualifications, right? Not the other way around. So it's a must at the entry level. See, okay, you're bringing in these qualities, these talents, these abilities over there. Use it, utilize it over there, and then they feel heard and felt, and they can actually explore with it. The expectations from it.
That's a very interesting approach. So, lastly, Dr. Jeelu, in an era of constant change and expectations, what does a truly sustainable teaching environment look like to you?
Yeah, I think it's again about the culture that you build, the team that you build with trial and error, allowing them to, make mistakes and learn. Uh, and you have your systems in place. You have your assertion and reasoning in place. You have logics in place. You give them as much as support as possible. Those things are really important. And like the previous question that you were asking, younger generation, the bandwidth of tolerance is very less. And I think most of our teachers are coming, are very young, and it is multicultural now. Because earlier, South India did have a lot of South Indian teachers, and it is a mix of cultures that is coming. And I think we need to respect that as well. So, you should allow, like, so say, why didn't we incorporate this? This is a very valid point. I also make a point to, look at the resume, not just at your academic credentials. What did you do before you became who you are now? And what can you contribute apart from teaching? What else can I add into? And then we are, making this note, it should not just remain on the rest. You should give them an opportunity to highlight those skills. So something that I believe in, and I have brought it out in our two schools as a staff development tool. So somebody just teaches you how to play sewing, somebody just, Zumba, some we just do cooking without fire. So the culture sets in, the expectation sets in your induction program plays a very important role. The first 1 or 2 months of the hand holding that is very, very important. You can't be ambiguous. You just can't have, okay, you're supposed to do this. Is it there on paper? I mean, given its clarity. All these days, kind of can put things in place.
Once again, they thank you for highlighting the needs of teachers and the issues that we face as educators. And I think their Education News Network over the last few decades has said so much for education expansion. And it's important that we remember our core essence and why we are in this professional question we're calling, and then to have that highlighted and shot to the rooftops. We're not enough of that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Management should, kind of hear it, make a conscious decision to change it, introspect. What can we do better? What are the best practices in the industry that we bring? Give the personal space to the teachers. That's very important.
So there's no way the education system can flourish when teachers are unhappy.
Yeah.
So this is something we need to look into. So this brings us to the end of this insightful discussion. Thank you both for sharing your perspectives today. It is evident that teacher well-being is no longer a secondary conversation. It is central to the future of education itself. Sustainable schools are built not only on strong students, but also on supported, motivated, and emotionally healthy educators. With the increasing demands on teachers as times evolve, it becomes imperative for schools to create environments where educators can thrive, not just cope. Thank you for watching Education News Network. For more such videos, do visit our channel, theann.com, and make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. For now, signing off, this is Nitya Krishnamurthy.